Well, good morning, everyone. And once again, welcome to another live this morning. Hope you're having a great start to your day. And I'll hold on a minute here and wait for you to get your notices and see who's up so we can say hello. Okay, here we go. Who we say? Nick from our staff. First one up this morning. Rosalinda, good morning. And Andrea, both from Niagara Falls. Brahim, Portland, Oregon. Good morning to you. Rosa, good morning. Alicia, we appreciate you. Kevin, back in Oshawa. Well, welcome back, Kev. Mary and Mike from Norland. Karen, Sault Ste. Marie, good morning. The Sue, Lori, Niagara Falls. Maria, good morning. Kim Timmons, how are you, Kim? Francis, how are you? Vaughn, Tina from Nova Scotia. Dave from Windsor. Robin from Connecticut. Jeanette, bonjour. Christina, North York. Bernice, Newfoundland. Deb from Timmins. Nancy from sunny Iowa. Well, it's sunny and cool here. Leela, Werner. Love Werner. Ellen, Claire, Donna, Bell Valley. Dinah, Elliott Lake. Imagine that. David, Sunny Ridgeway. Jeanette from our staff, good morning. Frida and Fran, good morning. Orangeville, how are you? I guess, and Lorna and Karen and Deb from Detroit, Adeline, couple of more, Roma and Debbie, Sturgeon Falls. Annette, good morning. And Fran, Val Karen, and Sherry. Renee, good morning. Carol, Mount Pearl, Newfoundland. Another Donna, and Denise, Missouri. And Marina, and Star, Richmond Hill. Okay, Jose, good morning. Brenda, Campbell River. I appreciate you guys out in BC. You too, Rita. Getting up early in the morning like that. Lynn. Laraine, good morning. Jean. And Donna, Vancouver Island. My word. You're up at the crack of dawn. And Frida. Catherine, Mount Pearl, and Lorraine. Oh, you guys are wonderful. All out in BC there. And Dorothy and Diane. Thanks for coming on. Okay, Lynn, wait till you hear this story. Sandy, Washington State, and Chantal de Sudbury. Maria, good morning. Now, this study is proof in the pudding. Proof is in the pudding. How about that for a headline? Now listen to this, guys. It's the proof there's such a thing as leaky gut. Okay? Because, again, doctors are skeptical. Nothing can get in your blood. If you get something in your blood, you become sepsis. That can kill you. Yeah, but there's a slow death too. And this study looked at thousands of studies. Okay? And here's the headline out of the Journal of Mucosal Immunology. Now, do you get that delivered to your home? The Journal of Mucosal Immunology? You don't? No, but it's fascinating. My job is to bring you these studies. Let me do the unpacking. Let me do the reading. and then let me tell you about it, okay? That's what these podcasts are all about. Now listen to this, guys, because this is it groundbreaking? Maybe for some, but for our loyal listeners, this will not be news to you, but it's proof that we're right. Now listen to this headline. Okay? New study looking at thousands of studies, okay? But it's a new study published. Early exposure to antibiotics create, okay? Now remember, I didn't make this headline up. Early exposure to antibiotics create permanent side effects in children. And notice the word permanent. Permanent side effects in children. And this study in the Journal of Mucosal Immunology makes these following conclusions. The reason we see so much asthma, the reason we see so many allergies in children is the use of antibiotics in children. And their conclusion, looking at thousands of studies, said this: the reason is it disrupts the microbiome. Layman's terminology, it creates leaky gut. Now listen, Linda. Again, I always use a disclaimer. And the disclaimer is this: if you need an antibiotic, then you take an antibiotic. Woe is me if I tell you you can never take an antibiotic. Okay, I don't do that. I actually don't believe in that statement. I never tell people not to use an antibiotic if you need an antibiotic. And this study says the overuse of antibiotics and the underuse, listen, the overuse of antibiotics in children and what? The underuse of probiotics. The underuse of it. It's a two-edged sword. Antibiotics can save your life, but they create leaky gut. They disrupt your little ecosystem in your gut, destroying good bacteria. Now, how many, can I say thousands of times I've said that? Guys, you gotta know me. Okay? And you guys know me. I have been so consistent about antibiotics. I've said this for going on 50 years. And I mean it. The greatest discovery of the 20th century and the curse of the 21st. And we got a study that actually looked at a review of all the studies on antibiotics, all the studies on asthma, all the studies on allergies, and I'm going to put something they didn't even talk about. One of the reasons that people develop food intolerances. Oh, doc, I'm allergic to, I can't eat cheese. I can't have eggs. Dairy bothers me. I'm lactose intolerant. And you know what? I go, you're not really lactose intolerant. I mean, you might be, but that's not the cause of it. Why are you lactose intolerant? You see, in my practice, it was, give me your history. Give me your history. I'm a history buff. I love world history, but I'm a big patient history. Give me your history. I want to know what happened. I want to know why. I want to know about your childhood. I want to know if you were on, and you couldn't get into my office. You could not see me without paperwork. And I had a questionnaire, and it took you about 20, 30 minutes to fill it out. And I meant it. You're not getting it, some people would come in, come on, doc, do I really got to fill this out? I mean, yeah, you got to fill it out. Because I'm asking questions that are going to give me lots of information so that in my diagnosis, I'm not making any diagnoses without your history. I want to know why. And isn't it fascinating that finally you have some researchers who talked about, okay, why do we see so much asthma today? Like every third kid has got a puffer. Can I say something? I don't know if it was because we were ignorant in the 1950s when I was in grade school, okay, in the early 60s. I don't remember ever seeing a puffer. I don't even remember anybody running at recess and saying, I'm out of breath because I got asthma. I didn't even know, what? I mean, I'm sure there was, but there wasn't many. You see, these researchers looked at how much children are unwell today. Breathing problems, why they have so many allergies. And I'm going to take it a step further. Why do so many adults get autoimmune disorders? Why do we see so much of it today? It wasn't like there was no lupus. There wasn't like there was no MS. Even Parkinson's, I consider an autoimmune disease. Why so much? I'll tell you why. It's not a mystery to me. It's leaky gut. Leaky gut, leaky brain. Leaky gut, leaky skin. Leaky gut, leaky lungs. Leaky gut, leaky sinuses. Leaky gut, leaky almost everything you can think of. And one of the major causes of asthma, it's not, the environment changed. Yeah. We got a lot more chemicals, and we do. But what antibiotics do, in the absence of probiotics, they they create a storm. Because microscopically, you develop leaks. And what was destined for the toilet, what was destined for the toilet, sneaks into your bloodstream, especially the Third Army, yeast. Now, when I used to say that in the 1970s, people thought I had two heads. Not so much my patients, but, professionals around me. That Dr. Martin, he's a quack. I was telling you, was it yesterday or about, I wrote a book on chronic fatigue, and yeah, we were talking about cortisol and the adrenal glands, and they thought I was crazier than a hoot owl when I said it. But you know what? When I used to talk about leaky gut back then, 30 years ago, they said, because whenever I saw a patient with chronic fatigue syndrome, not only did they have adrenal exhaustion, they also had leaky gut. Every last one of them. And their blood was slowly poisoned. It's not a quick poison. What is that stuff called? Ricin or, kills you pretty quickly. No, this is a slow poisoning of the body because garbage leaks into the bloodstream. Asthma, allergies, psoriasis. It's autoimmune, guys. Your body turns on itself. Why? Because it's seen foreign debris. The blood's supposed to be pristine, my friend. Your blood's supposed to be clean. Your blood is supposed to be untainted. It's the life. Your blood. It's your life. You can't live without your blood. You'll still live if your blood is tainted. You remember the scandal of tainted blood in Canada with the Red Cross back in, was it in the 80s? And a lot of people got, permanent damage to their liver and, HIV and, you remember that? Tainted blood. But a lot of people are walking around, and I'm going to say almost most people, they're walking around with leaky gut, and they don't know it. Because nobody's ever explained it to them. My friend, I don't care how old you are, if you take antibiotics without a probiotic, you will 100% get leaky gut. 100%. Antibiotics work too well. They work. They wipe out the bad guys. Okay. The problem is, it's like friendly fire. Killing the good guys. That's a big problem in warfare. It's friendly fire. A lot of soldiers are killed by their own, explosives and bullets and, friendly fire. And that's the problem with an antibiotic. And I'm not, like I said, I'm not telling you. You get into a car accident and they're putting IV antibiotic into you to decrease your risk of infection. Hey, absolutely. Absolutely. You gotta, I was talking to a lady the other day, and doc, I'm on antibiotics for a urinary tract infection. Okay. Was it burning bad? No. Well, then don't take antibiotics. Oh yeah, but my doctor said I had an infection. I know. But if it wasn't bothering you, just take probiotics. And when you have to take an antibiotic, and by the way, I was probably the first guy that ever said this, and it's confirmed now by studies. I think I was the first guy who said it. You don't need to take your antibiotic forever. You know what I mean? Like, finish the dosage. Brought to you by Pfizer or whoever else makes them. Yeah, and they just said it and said it and said it. It sounded good. Oh, yeah, but that infection might come back if you don't finish the dosage. You know what the research is showing? You take it, and when the symptoms are gone, stop. So that you don't disrupt what these people are saying in this study. You don't disrupt that microbiome permanently. You know how many people I saw in my office? I'm talking about tens of thousands over the years. And they had no idea that maybe 5 years before, they started digestive issues. They were on antibiotics. And I used to draw that line for them. I said, well, you see what you wrote to me in your history? Yeah. I said, well, when did your digestive issues start? Well, in the last year or so. How many years before did you take those antibiotics? So maybe a year or two. I said, well, it disrupted. And you got digestive symptoms. Some people get the problems on their skin. Some people get their problems in their sinuses. Some people get their problems in recurring lung problems. Or some people develop autoimmune. I never saw an MS, lupus, or any of those cases without a direct line to antibiotics. Because no one ever told people, ever, and they still don't really. Some do. Some doctors have clued in. And even some pharmacists have clued in. You see, if I was a pharmacist and you came in to my store to get a prescription and you were getting an antibiotic, I would have your antibiotic ready, and then I'd have another bottle of probiotics ready saying, when you take this with it, and then after it, and you don't finish the whole antibiotic. As soon as your symptoms are gone, stop that, and then continue on your probiotic. Finish the bottle. That's the bottle you should finish. Okay? If I was a pharmacist, and I don't know if I should even say this, I get a little upset at pharmacists. They're professionals. They took a lot of training. It's not easy to become a pharmacist. But sometimes I find pharmacists don't do their job. They're too busy. And they I know they're supposed to educate you, but they should pick up the phone sometimes. It's a pet peeve of mine. Pick up the phone and call your doctor and say, hey, you've had this patient on this for a long time. Can I suggest something else? Ew, don't get me started. Like, no, but really, guys, nobody questions these prescriptions. A kid's got an earache. Okay. Who as a parent and a grandparent wants to see a kid in pain with an earache? Every mother in the world that I've ever met would take the kid's place. And grandma, too. I'll take your earache, okay? Because you're my little sweetheart. And the problem is, the pharmacists, when they see that antibiotic, well, wait a minute, you don't really need it. It's a virus. It's not a bacteria. You know how I know? Your ear is it's not the pus coming oozing out. And, maybe one day of an antibiotic, even with a bacterial infection, will do it. The pain clears up. Stop. Because of the proof in the pudding. It's groundbreaking, guys. But let me tell you where this is going to end up. It's going to end up, I'm Mr. Positive, right? I have a good outlook on life. I do. But I'm a realist. And my reality check, I'm not optimistic that this study would get any kind of ink in the mainstream media. Mainstream media is bought and paid for by the pharmaceutical industry. 80% of their revenues. You think they're going to make this announcement? If you guys see it somewhere in the mainstream media, would you let me know, please? I mean it. Because I'm not optimistic that this is even going to get out. This is a groundbreaking, earth-shattering review. And these researchers ought to win maybe a Nobel Prize in medicine just for drawing the line and making the connection between allergies, asthma, autoimmune, and the use of antibiotics without probiotics. And that's earth-shattering, guys. In medical annals, it should be written up big time. And every physician should know this study, and every healthcare practitioner should know this study, including the pharmacist. Including the pharmacist. But you guys know it's the proof in the pudding of number one, leaky gut. Does leaky gut occur? It absolutely occurs. It should be required course in medicine. We're going, for the next semester, you're going to understand leaky gut. how it happens, what to do about it, what it causes. We talked about mental health. And there's a direct line again, even to mental health, because you got more hormones in your gut. You got more serotonin in your gut than you got in your brain. I was talking to someone yesterday about that connection with anxiety and depression. I said, well, you got leaky gut. 100%. And it's slowly poisoned your brain. It's a slow poison. It's not fast. And, my friend, let me finish with this. Probiotics, like yogurt, ain't going to do it, okay? Here's a headline from me. Yogurt won't fix it. Yogurt, nah. You can make your own yogurt, and that's a good fermented, that's good, okay? I got no problem with yogurt. But when you buy it in the store, and it's been pasteurized, because it has to be, at 1200 degrees, there ain't a bacteria in the universe that makes it past the pasteurization. It's like wiping it out with an antibiotic. Seriously. Like, ladies, I know that you like yogurt. I don't like yogurt particularly. Okay. But I remember I'm talking 10, 15, 20 years ago. I mean, it was the craze. Like when I was a kid, can I tell you something? Like, if we had yogurt, I don't remember, okay? We had ice cream. We didn't have yogurt. And then all of a sudden, yogurt. Oh, yogurt, And I laughed a little bit, okay? Because all my patient women especially, they like their yogurt in the morning. And I go, what are you eating that stuff for? Well, it's good for me. Not so much. Not so much. What's good about it? I said, did you make it? No. You got it in the grocery store? Yeah. And, hey, Dr. Martin, it's got fruit in it. I said, yeah, that ain't good for you. It's way too sweet. And it's been pasteurized. I said, there's nothing left in there that's any good for you. Yeah, a little bit of protein. Have an egg. I said, have bacon and eggs, okay? Oh, I'm so controversial. Okay. You know what tomorrow is? It's question and answer Friday. Yep. So send in your questions. Send in your questions. We enjoy Fridays, don't we? No, we get a lot of good questions, and it allows me oftentimes to get off onto rabbit trails and get excited, and, it reminds me of my radio days. Live radio with real questions, no screening. Boy, we had some good questions. And then we had some silly ones, a few, on live, but anyway. Okay, guys. If you're not a member of the private Facebook group, let's do a little advertising here. You got to join, okay? Get your friends, get your family. What a community, okay? And our podcast, the Doctor Is In podcast. You've made them numero uno in Canada in terms of health podcasts. Number one on the hit parade. You guys, thank you. We appreciate it. Thank you for the referrals. And People are listening. Get the message out, guys. Get them to tune in. Get them to tune in. Let me try and convince people. Okay? Guys, we love you dearly. We'll talk to you soon.